Broken Entertainment. Are you ready for some good news? Because I actually have some, and it's actually coming out of the Disney Must Pay issue where Disney is not paying royalties to people because they think they're above that sort of thing. Boom Studios, which is minority owned by Disney, has come forward and is doing everything they can to get their people paid. So we'll go ahead and go into this article. Just a quick recap in case you're unaware from previous videos. The situation is this. Disney has bought all these different companies, Fox, Marvel, etc. And in doing so, they have, and Lucasfilm, they have switched some properties around. They've taken on these contracts for people who have written previously for them, whether it's comics or books or what have you. And in doing so, they have not paid them royalties, which they are owed by law and by contract. And their excuse for not paying these people is, oh, well, that was the previous company. They had to pay you. We don't have to pay you. That's nonsense. That's false. And they know it. You think Disney doesn't have enough lawyers to know that? And they're robbing people. Plain and simple. They're robbing these people. These authors, the vast majority of authors, are not J.K. Rowling. They're not George R. R. Martin. They're not rolling around in money. Okay, and these authors that go and work for companies that do freelance writing, they rely on these royalties. This is their bread and butter. This is what puts food on their table. And Disney is going out of their way to not pay them. And it's absolutely disgusting. And Boom Studios was doing the same thing by directive of Disney. But we'll get into that here in a minute. Boom Studios is an awesome comic book company. They're way better than Marvel. They're way better than DC. They tell compelling, good stories, and they worry about story first, character first, and all this other nonsense that comes into comics these days doesn't even show up on the radar. They have a whole bunch of different properties, a lot of great brands. If you're interested in comics and you're looking for something else, I really recommend them, especially after we get into this article. So this is from Gizmodo. The Disney royalty fight has picked up a new defender, Boom Studios. In the wake of accusations from Star Wars and Alien novelist Alan Dean Foster that Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm and Fox had led to royalties from his work going unpaid, a collective of writers and the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America teamed up to push the corporation to honor long-standing royalty agreements. Side note, not only were they not paying people, but they weren't sending them their statements. So a lot of authors that maybe aren't as powerful as Alan Dean Foster don't even know what they're owed. They just know they're not getting any money. So, and then Disney's turning around and saying, well, if you have a problem not receiving your royalties, you need to fill out a form and you need to come to us through the proper channels, and then we'll take a look at your case on an individual case-by-case basis. Bull crap. In a press release issued overnight, the Disney Must Pay Task Force announced that it has begun working with the comic book publisher to begin paying accurate royalties to creatives. You may be familiar with Boom's many independent titles, such as Mouse Guard and Lumberjanes. The company also publishes a host of licensed comic books. This includes, by the way, Power Rangers, which they've done an excellent job with. For the purposes of the Disney fight, the company is associated with the House of Mouse thanks to its reboot of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics line. Boom Studios strongly supports all creators receiving any reporting and royalty payments that are contractually owed. When we have obligations, we honor them, said Philip Sablick, Boom's president of publishing and marketing, said in a statement provided by a press release. We are happy to work with both the Disney Task Force and our licensor Disney to resolve these situations to everyone's satisfaction. The press release further adds, the task force believes that Boom Studios were not told about the writers who were due royalties when Disney transferred media rights to them. Disgusting. Prior to Disney's acquisition of the 20th Century Fox and its myriad properties in 2019, Fox licensed Dark Horse Comics to produce a comics line based on Buffy the Vampire Slayer for over 2 decades, including series deemed as close to official continuations of the show as fans could get, written by show creatives including Joss Whedon. Shortly after its acquisition, Fox terminated the deal with Dark Horse, and the license for Buffy went to Boom Studios, which rebooted the comic franchise the same year. Foster, whose issue with royalties stemming from his work novelizing both Alien and Star Wars A New Hope, the latter ghost written under George Lucas's name, as well as the first novel in what would become the Star Wars Expanded Universe, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, kicked off renewed calls for Disney to honor royalty agreements, has yet to provide a public update since confirming his issues with the studio have been resolved earlier this month. Is that one sentence? Hang on. That is one sentence. Get an editor. Wow. Disney itself has not yet made a public statement since Foster's accusations came out in late 2020, when a Disney representative told IO9 that negotiations with the writer for his work on the Alien novels were ongoing. Boom Studios are not at fault here, and the Disney Must Pay Joint Task Force is grateful they have taken the lead with their cooperation. Mary Robinette Cowell, president of SFWA, added in the provided press release. With their help, we're able to speed up the process of locating writers who might have been affected by the rights transfer by Disney. Because remember, a lot of these writers don't know what they're supposed to do. They're not getting any royalties. They don't know how much they're owed. They may not be able to afford a lawyer. They may not have a lawyer. This is ridiculous. Plain and simple. I wish Disney itself was also willing to work with us. Me too. But remember, this is the same company that when it said it was struggling during the pandemic, fired most of its low-paid staff and gave raises to its higher-ups. So that's kind of all you need to know, right? This isn't surprising, or at least it shouldn't be, but it is because of how disgusting it is. But hey, awesome on Boom Studios. I'm glad more authors are getting paid. I'm glad to see Boom Studios step up and say, you know what, we're minority owned by Disney, but we don't care. You guys are going to get paid. That's great. That's awesome. I love it. I love seeing a comic book company in the United States come out and actually behave respectfully. Boom Studios treats their fans very, very well. They treat their properties very, very well. This is awesome. If you're looking for comics that are different from Marvel and DC, I can't recommend them enough. Go check them out. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments down below. And if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.